Good morning. Welcome to the morning report for Wednesday, the 25th of February. A positive start is expected for the Australian share market following gains on Wall Street. The futures index is up 0.7%. Yesterday, that is Tuesday, the ASX 200 closed down just 3.7 points to 9,022.3. That levy that the US president announced in reaction to a US Supreme Court decision against the legality of his tariffs took effect during our afternoon session. The energy sector performed best yesterday. Today we'll be watching for further market reaction to this global uncertainty, but there are plenty of companies reporting as well, and inflation figures are out shortly. So who's on the list to release earnings? WiseTech, Light & Wonder, Iress, Growthpoint Properties, Helia, Fortescue, G8 Education, Domino's Pizza, Woolworths, Bapcor, Steadfast, Centuria Capital and Flight Centre. In the US, there are big earnings reports out from Nvidia and Salesforce after market close there. Nvidia's results will provide key insight into AI demand and the potential impact on sectors such as software. A look at commodities before we check in on how overseas markets finished up. Global oil prices were lower on Tuesday as investors waited for news from nuclear talks between the US and Iran. The Brent crude price was down 0.3% to $71.43 a barrel. Copper futures advanced 2.6%, propelled by positive sentiment and firmer demand in top metals consumer China, where markets reopened after a holiday. Aluminium futures traded 0.2% higher. Gold prices slipped from 3-week highs on Tuesday as profit-taking and a firmer US dollar pressured prices. The futures were last trading down 1.5% to $5,175 an ounce. Iron ore futures traded down 0.1%. Here's a look at the Aussie dollar. It's buying 70.57 US cents. Let's head to Wall Street. The markets in the US ended in positive territory. The Dow Jones index was 0.8% higher. The S&P 500 index was also 0.8% up, and the Nasdaq index had gained 1%. Let's look at why. The higher US markets were led by recovering technology shares as investors assessed Anthropic's announcement of new AI tools and weighed President Donald Trump's shifting stance on trade tariffs. Anthropic announced several new plugins targeting industries such as investment banking and HR. Weeks after its earlier releases stoked a sell-off in traditional software stocks. Most mega-cap and growth stocks bounced back slightly on Tuesday, with Apple leading gains with a 2.2% rise, while Nvidia climbed 0.4% ahead of its earnings, which are due after market close today. The S&P 500 Software and Services Index advanced 1.2% on the day with help from Salesforce, which was among the biggest gainers. Advanced Micro Devices jumped 9% after the chipmaker said it had agreed to sell up to $60 billion worth of AI chips to Meta over 5 years. Home Depot rose 2% after the home improvement chain operator topped estimates for fourth quarter results and maintained its annual forecasts. Keysight Technologies climbed 22% after the electronic equipment maker forecast second quarter profit ahead of Wall Street estimates. This positive US lead is why our share market is expected to begin the day strongly as well. US government bond yields were little changed to modestly higher on Tuesday, as investors continue to weigh the implications of the Supreme Court ruling striking down President Trump's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs and look to his State of the Union speech in the coming hours for more clarity on the government's trade policy. The US 10-year Treasury yield was flat at 4.03%, while the US 2-year Treasury yield was up 2 points to 3.46%. To the European markets, European shares rose on Tuesday against a backdrop of broader market gains, tracking increased risk appetite on Wall Street, although investors awaited clarity on US trade policy. Most sectors ended the session higher, although financials and media stocks didn't. Banks fell 1.3% on renewed concerns that newer AI models could disrupt traditional businesses. Chip-related companies ASML and Infineon both rose more than 1%. The continent-wide FTSE Euro First 300 index ended 0.2% higher. So as I mentioned, we'll get an update shortly on household spending for January. The inflation reading is closely watched by the RBA and feeds into future interest rate decisions. On the Reserve Bank, Governor Michelle Bullock is speaking at a dinner in Melbourne tonight, so there may be some interesting takeaways from there. We'll also be looking out for what Donald Trump will say about his future trade policy plans in his State of the Union address. We care because the insights will have a ripple effect around the globe. For further developments on today's local trading session, please tune in to the CommSec Market Update podcast this afternoon, and of course the Market Close video. Have a great day.